There you go. I thought we was going to get a double. What's going on, everybody? Did you
What's
see
up?
it switched us real quick on y'all side? I don't know what happened right there, but anyway,
Yeah.
hey, welcome to the live well. So glad you guys could join us tonight. We're getting thrown a loop on this other side here. I was up there where Tim was, and Ryan was where Kevin was, and now it's all different. It threw me for a loop. But hey, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. We got a great episode in store for you guys. We got our buddy Ryan Sheffield in the house, and of course Tim and Father Time Kevin Thornton's in the house. And tonight we're going to talk spinnerbaits, floating worms for pre-spawn. It's about that time. We've been talking ditch fishing and rock crawlers and everything. And while they're still in play and they're going to be in play for a while, it's time to start kind of transitioning our mind into pre-spawn up to the spawn. So glad all you guys can have joined us tonight. And let's see. It should be a good show. Coleman has got a tournament. It's going to be cold on West Point this weekend. Did you guys happen to watch? And we kind of talked about it, but you guys in the comment section, any of the elites today over on Gunnersville? Now they looked cold, so I think I saw where Kyle Welcher said, might have been Kyle Welcher, one of them 38 degrees. They saw 36-degree water at one point and all that. So a lot of ice on there. So definitely. Is this guest famous right here? He's what do we Tim? What did we call it? Kind of regionally amateurly. What was it? Famous?
Ryan's definitely a member of the Semi-Amateur Anglers Association.
That's right.
That's what I always told people.
Wow.
We're semi-amateurs.
Wow.
That's like people, we're semi-pro. It's like, nah, I'm more semi-amateur,
We're semi-amateur for sure.
No, that's my buddy Josh. So
okay, yeah. I saw him say that on the post on Facebook too. Is this guy famous?
He's my TD.
He's your TB. There you go.
TD. He's my tournament director.
Oh, there you go. I like it. I like it. So Clayton Belmont's jumping right into the conversation, boys, right here. So we're just going to jump right into it. Should we upsize our trailers on our spinner baits this time of year going into the spawn? What are we doing right now if we want to throw a spinner bait? Or are we just getting prepped, Ryan? How about that? Are we getting prepped right now, kind of changing our mindset, or should we be throwing these things?
Well, so this time last year, if everyone remembers, we actually had what was coming up happened this week that we're in right now, but it lingered for another week, and we had a tournament, a 2-day classic, the second weekend. It's kind of funny because it's relevant. At the second weekend in February last year for the East Hall Bass Club Classic, and the first day everyone was still fishing the exact same way they had been fishing. They had been fishing deep, been fishing ditches, all that kind of stuff. And everyone gets back to the weigh-in, and I did the same thing. And everyone comes back to weigh-in, and 14 pounds is leading. And it was and there was a bunch of us that had between 11 and 13 pounds, and everyone was like, golly, it's terrible today. It sucked, And the next day, I went back to a place that we had caught them before deep, and just something in my gut was just nah. I was like, you know what? We ain't leading this thing or anything. We're right in the middle of the pack because everybody all had the same weight. I put every single rod up and pulled out my spinnerbait rod and laid it on the deck. That was the only rod I had on the deck. And I ran up the river, up Chestatee Arm. And I fished and fished and fished, and I went about 2 hours without a bite. And then all of a sudden, I just kept throwing a spinnerbait. And then all of a sudden, at 10:30, I catch one 3.5 pounds. And then I catch another one about 3 pounds. And then I catch another one that's about 1.5 pounds. And they were all out two different pockets that were right side by side. And I was kind of like, nah, that can't be a coincidence. So started running it a little bit more, and then ended up putting together a 16.5, almost 17-pound bag on the second day. And I caught every single one of them out of basically less than 5 foot of water between a spinnerbait and a jig, real shallow up around docks and blowdown. where they should be, pre-spawn
Right.
when they first pull up. So it's, some people may say right now, well, it's a little early, but is it though?
Well, hey, listen,
is it? So
that's why you're here. You're supposed to tell us, is it too early?
I think a lot more fish than people give credit for. I think you have that first major wave of fish that actually pull up to start thinking about spawning in the next like 4 to 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that first wave that pulls up, I think they've done it so many times. I think they know what's coming, and it's just like inherent nature. And also, too, here we are in February. If you pay attention, the days are going to keep creeping up, getting longer and longer. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it goes into more, the length of days really starts to move fish. Me personally, Father Time, he's got a lot more experience than me on it, so he may be able to way more experiences than me. Many springs and winters have come.
Many moons.
But I think length of day kind of starts triggering things quicker than people realize. So many people get so worried about water temperature, and water temperature does have a lot more than water. Yeah, exactly.
But there's residential fish too that live up shallow all year long, and I think people don't give them enough credit either.
Yeah,
you've got your transitional fish that are going to be out deep and move on up as the weather changes and temperatures start to rise, but you've got resident fish that live shallow year round.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think those shallow fish, I think they're your first movers anyway. And when I say movers, I'm not saying they like pull up. I think they go to their first places. And so many of our highland reservoirs up here in North Georgia, Tennessee, the arm going up in North Carolina, Northern Alabama, they've got, a lot of them have two common things in common. Is a lot of them all have a major river, at least one major river that feeds the lake, right? And then secondly, a lot of them are populated lakes. So you have a lot of boat docks on those lakes, and a lot of highland reservoirs are water generation things for electricity. So the lakes go up and down. Well, a lot of those docks basically are all floating docks, and they all have black floats. Well, you get a couple of days like we're going to have coming up here Thursday in particular, where, I mean, I don't know about you three, but some of the weather apps are saying 70 on Thursday. So you get a couple of days sustained like that. In the afternoons, midday to the afternoon, there's going to be fish that are going to get real close to those like floats, especially ones with the sun shining on them really good for a long period of time for multiple days in a row. The black floats hold heat overnight. They hold heat better overnight than wood does. So these fish are going to pull up and get snug right underneath those docks, and they're looking to feed. And they're looking, I mean, like I said, they're already starting to think about getting ready to do the deed, and they know they got to feed, and they've been feeding all winter, but they know they got to feed even more. So
I got you. Now, go ahead.
That water that's 5 feet or less is going to warm up much, much quicker than water out there in 20 to 25 feet. So they're the first to go up and spawn anyway, in my opinion.
Okay.
Those residential fish.
Make sure we come back to Clayton's question when we get to talking about trailers and things like that, whether we upsize them and all that, because they were a lot of guys were commenting and everything. Eric's got spinnerbait tied on all year. What was the water temp last time you guys were on the water? What was the water temp, Ryan? Or what is the water temp now if you've talked to somebody?
Oh, I haven't really talked to anybody. I know when we fished not 2 weekends ago, the third weekend in January, the weekend before the ice storm, the great ice apocalypse that was supposed to happen, it was like 50.
Yeah.
So I've heard people say that it has dropped some here, But you're not going to see as dramatic of a water temperature change on a lake like Lanier like you do on Guntersville, because Guntersville is a lot shallower. So the air temperature affects a lake like Guntersville a whole lot faster than it does a lake like Lanier that's deep.
Right.
You know,
right.
so because I mean, you've seen most of those guys fishing today. Most of those guys that were fishing, you know, I mean, I didn't hardly watch much of it, but I can pretty much assume that a bunch of those guys were kind of fishing grass, and they were really targeting that, you know, 8 to 10 foot range.
Mm-hmm.
And on Guntersville, that's kind of deep, you know.
Yes.
So it's kind of deep on Guntersville.
Well, they
were throwing a lot of rattle traps too, Danny.
That's all they was throwing, rattle traps and jerk baits. Anytime I pulled it up, it's definitely the Trap Fest is on. And Ryan talking about that, a lot of the pockets and stuff in the back were froze over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of, I know Gussie had a hell of a day, but the day before he was talking about on another podcast I was watching, they were talking about Gussie was trying to flip on some grass mats and it was froze. Couldn't get it down in between it and all that. Let's see. It's more of a daylight. Jeff Brazil, our buddy out in Mississippi. Now, Ryan, you said ice apocalypse or whatever. That gentleman right there has been out of power for 12 days at his lake house.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, they got nailed out there. Ron says water temps are overblown. Daylight and fishing pressure will move fish too. Plus, like Father Tom said, residential fish are always moving up and down. Cranking Yankees in the house. Our buddy Robert Blesky, hey, getting that surgery, looking forward to the championship. He'll be fishing the NPFL championship, so I'm looking forward to that. And let's go. Fishy Nick. I feel like you hear a bunch of pros talking about fishing where bass are going to go or where they would be heading to. Makes sense to start pre-spawn techniques earlier than you should. Do you, you know, with that comment right there, Ryan, do you think sometimes guys actually are a little bit late? I know we're going to talk spinnerbaits and all that, but like pre-spawn in and of itself, because it's still cold as hell in February. We're like, oh, we'll get to it in March.
Yeah, so like the earliest like spinnerbait bite for what I would say would be like a pre-spawn a fish, and when I say pre-spawn fish, she was in an area where you would be like, oh, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. The earliest bite I've ever had was like the 1st of February, and the water temperature was like 47 degrees, and she was in about 4 foot of water.
Yeah, okay. Well,
and she bit a spinnerbait. That's what she bit. That's what she ate, was a spinnerbait.
And so we'll get into the more specific spinnerbait questions too. I see yours, Farmer, right there as well. But Rob says boat ramps behind residential homes hold heat very well too. This is when they come into play, for sure. And since we're talking about like spawn and everything, old buddy Trip Fishing, how much stock should you put in the moon phases? You know, as far as when they start moving up, I think it's more length of day. Wouldn't you think? I mean, I'm sure the moon phase has something to do with it. It is nature.
I mean, I don't know about the other two guys, but I mean, I've seen fish like spawning like on the bed, and the full moon was like 2 weeks ago. You know, like, and this is like April or something like that. So, you know, I think the moon phase I think it plays a part in it, but I really think it's more length of day has more to do with it. Right. And I think too, probably one of the reasons why also too, you know,
well, he was getting ready to drop some juice right there. Hold on a second. Let me pull him back up.
Yep. I don't know what happened.
You were getting ready to drop some really good juice, and the fishing gods went no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Everybody heard that, right? He's not going to repeat
it. No, I think. No, I can't remember where I was going now because that threw me off kilter.
Moon phase. You were talking about moon phases.
Oh, the moon phase. Yeah, the moon phase. I feel like length of day just matters more, and I think one of the things that really, especially in the past like 5 or 6 years, has changed things to say would be that there's a lot more fishing pressure, and now I remember when I was saying the fish aren't stupid. You know, they're dumb, but they're not stupid.
They're smart in their own element.
They're smart in their own element, and you know, just like anything else, you know, I think that, you know, they know that, you know, they go and do the deed as quick as they can. Whether it's successful or not, is hard to say. It's kind of hard to say. Eggs, they need a certain water temperature to hatch. So I mean, I don't know. It's just I think each lake is different. Yeah. It seems like your Highland reservoirs, like Lanier, Hartwell, lakes like that. It seems like you can start thinking about really like staying shallow and like fishing all day long, and targeting the stuff where fish should be shallow, like where they should be pre-spawning at, setting up at. Like, you can really start thinking about that a lot harder in late February, mid-February, and then really focus on it in March.
Gotcha. Let me read some of these water temps today, because a lot of guys are commenting right there. 38 to 40 on Chateaugue today, and he actually sent a pic of some ice over there. Sinclair was 45 4 days ago, our buddy John G. Wilson. Gailey girls fishing. And listen, guys, keep an eye out on these two. All right, Lumpkin County, they know what they're doing. But they said 43 as of today. And then we got 40, Shirley McDonald, 40 to 43 on Notley. Good Lord, that's cold. And I think that's it on the temps. Now, do you believe, and guys, we'll get to the spinnerbaits, I promise you, we'll talk that. I want to try to get some of these questions out of the way. Let me read this on. Yeah, it is. Let me read this on TikTok from Justice. Water temp needs to be close for sure, but in my opinion, water level dictates a lot more as well. So what lake are you on? What lake do you fish to? And listen, Lanier's down this year. Is that going to have any bearing, do you think, Ryan? It is down a little bit.
Yeah. When a lake is closer to full pool, I think it helps a lot, but I think it helps the bite better. I think it helps finding fish better when your particular lake is more towards full pool.
Okay, he's on Cumberland. Well, his home lake is Cumberland, but I fish college bass everywhere east of the Mississippi. So he probably is around. If you're doing that, you're going to experience a lot more up and down than what we probably will, unless you Alatoona boys, because y'all go way down.
Yeah, they're about 14 and a half feet down. I went down there today at Galt's and looked at it, and it's still probably 5.5, 6 feet just to get to the dock. And that's not stepping off into your boat. That's just to get to the dock where it sits on the ground. But, it being down that much, and it's going to start filling back up again soon. But if those fish come up to bed and they're in 3-4 feet of water, and the spots are going to be out a little deeper, we all know that water doesn't rise fast enough to really mess them up.
On Alatoona.
I'm thinking on Alatoona or any lake, even Lanier, it takes a hell of a lot of water to fill Lanier back up.
If you think about it, they're going to spawn when they get ready to spawn, and they're just going to use what they got to work with, I would imagine. If the lake's down there, they're going to be somewhere, but if the lake was at full pool, they'd be 25 feet of water.
Those spots might be in 8 feet of water now, but the water can't come up that quick. It can come up a couple of feet with a hell of a rainstorm, but it's not going to come up enough to mess them up.
Gotcha.
My favorite phrase, and I'll take this to my grave. No matter what we all think, or what any of you guys think, or whatever you in the comment section want to think, or think is right or wrong, we can all think what we want to do. But I'm going to tell you this, and this is fact: nature finds a way.
It does.
Oh yeah,
it always finds a way. So we may say it shouldn't be going on. We may say that's impossible. Nature finds a way.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna read a couple moon phase things, and then we're gonna get on to the topic at hand, because guys are talking about spinnerbaits too. But your buddy Josh says moon phase helps determine bite windows. I can see that. Moon position during the day is more effective than moon position, I guess he meant to say at night, in my experience. Rob says new moon is better to fish than a full moon. For one, the full moon gives light, so they feed all hours. New moon typically gets you bit throughout the whole day. And then let's jump on this too, because let's get to talking about the spinnerbait bite and everything specifically. Because our old buddy Cranking and Yanking. First of all, Cranking and Yanking, I want to know if you watched the Elites today, since it's on Gunnersville with no forward facing sonar. And if you did, I'd like to get your opinion on it in the comment section. Last time Ryan was on, I went and picked up about 5 spinnerbaits. Still haven't caught a fish on one. I must need more juice. And he goes, I think they were the War Eagle brand that he was pushing back then. And I will tell you this, like Ryan can make his own if he wants to. He's fished others, but as long as I've known him, he does like the War Eagle spinnerbait. So there's just, he's probably got one right beside him. Look at there.
Yep.
There it is.
The War Eagle for sure.
He loves that. Real quick, Kevin, are you fishing the Allatoona Bass Trail?
No, not that one. I'm gonna fish the Monday nighters and possibly try to get into the Tuesday night out of Gatewood.
Okay.
But I haven't heard of the Allatoona Bass Trail.
I don't know if
I'll have to look that up.
Look it up. So you've done piqued his interest. All right, so let's get on the spinnerbait, Ryan, specifically. Because we've had a couple questions. One about Clayton had one about upsizing your trailer this time of year. And of course, Farmer says something about a trailer hook. And I know the answers to some of them, but let's go ahead. Let's just start with the basic right now. Basic spinnerbait technique for pre-spawn bass starting right now up until the spawn. And you may change it as it gets a little bit warmer here and there. But if you were going out tomorrow, cold as hell, and you're going to throw nothing but a spinnerbait, what are you targeting? How are you throwing it?
Primarily going to be targeting towards the front mouths of pockets, like spawning pockets, really. Major creek arms, like that kind of stuff, really in the front is where I'm going to be thinking about the most. And then I'm going to let my day dictate as the day goes on. In terms of, the spinnerbait, in terms of throwing low, it's there. A lot of people say it's a location, and location is location, but you kind of got to keep it in your hand. You kind of can't think about throwing something else. You have to keep it in your hand. You have to throw it. The second probably most important aspect of spinnerbait fishing for these early pre-spawn fish is your accuracy. And you could probably go back to all the other videos on here that we've talked about it before, and you're going to hear me say that again. Mm-hmm. My spinnerbait game changed a long time ago when I started getting a little more ballsy with my casts. To put it in layman's terms, I guess. Throwing it where if you would throw it, I might get hung. Throw it in there anyway. If you don't, because if you don't throw it in there anyway, you ain't gonna never know. So if you don't do it, you're never gonna find out. But accuracy is probably the most important thing, and also too, in terms of accuracy, these two things go hand in hand. Is your approach with your cast. Don't take a half-ounce spinnerbait with a big old trailer on it and throw that thing overhand and lob it all the way up there in a foot of water and let it make a big old splash. Right. You want that thing to try to be as quiet entering the water as you possibly can. And watch. And the reason why I started trying to do that and emulate that was, there's my word, emulate. The reason I started doing it was because when I go back and I watch these older videos in the late 80s, early 90s of all these Bass Pro videos on YouTube, and you watch them throwing spinnerbaits in March or something like that, when you see the spinnerbait come out off the end of the rod and you see where it goes, when it lands in the water, it disappears. You can't even tell where it was. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make a big splash. It doesn't make a ton of noise. And a spinnerbait, they don't. Some people say it looks like shad, ball of shad, whatnot. I think it's profile and the vibration flash is really what kicks it off. And if you can be as accurate as you can possibly can, get as tight to cover, docks, wood, anything like that as you can possibly get, that's going to be your key to getting a bite. Throwing beyond targets is another big thing. some people say, "Oh, I threw spinnerbait in the blowdown." Well, they throw the spinnerbait in the middle of the blowdown. They don't throw the spinnerbait where the log is coming in off the bank and bring it from the bank through the blowdown. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten bit where I threw it way past where my thinking is where this is where a bass is going to come out and hopefully smoke this thing. Throw 10 feet past it. And when it comes, then they come out and they'll get it if they're there and they want to eat it. So I think accuracy, and that's going to be is going to be your biggest approach. And, cranking and yanking, what he said, if you struggling with it, really focus hard and practice hard on being as accurate as you possibly can. Don't be afraid to knock it off something if possible. If that's what it is, that's what it is. But and I seen what he said right there about an A-rig. Yeah. I mean, we throw A-rig in other places, but I'm talking about fishing for fish that are basically in 5 foot of water or less.
Right.
So I mean, and that's just kind of my main approach to it. And the biggest thing is just keep it in your hand.
There we go. Tim's back. We lost him for a second. Now he's back. Let me pull him back on there. And also, too, guys, when he's talking about accuracy, I think we're just playing like musical chairs while y'all kick off and then you move. It's throwing me off. When it comes to accuracy, too, like if you've ever been with Ryan in Ryan's boat, which I have, and watching him work a dock, especially when he's talking about these black floats heating up and everything, he's not throwing 3 or 4 foot outside the dock and bringing it. I mean, his spinnerbait, when he gets it right, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but I've seen you do it, it's ticking almost the black float. I mean, it is coming. You can't get it no closer to the side of a dock without actually getting it under the dock. Fair enough?
They don't. The one thing you've got to really get in your mind to do this and have some success with it is you've got to go ahead. The water temperatures are still cold. And, here in another couple of weeks, the water temperatures are still going to be hopefully rising up into the mid 50s, but that's still kind of cold. And a bass isn't going to chase something down that's 10 feet away from it. It's going to, if it's close to it, being that if one's suspended underneath the dock, if he's only got to move 1.5 feet to go grab it, you can't see him. But if he's only got to have to grab it, he's going to expend these two, or she wants to go get the bait. And that's just kind of the way that it is, really, when it comes down to it.
I got you.
Getting a bass
spinnerbait close to anything and bumping it.
Do what, Kevin?
You want that spinnerbait close and bumping.
Yeah.
Anything you can hit, it's got to hit it.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about watching him when he's working that dock. I mean, it is as close as you can. Now, Ryan, correct me. At this time, I know you always, when we were talking spinnerbaits, you always said you like the blade down just where you can barely see it.
Yeah, in stained water particularly, I kind of want to keep my retrieve to the point of where I can barely see the blades flashing. And if I can barely see the blades flashing, that seems to be the kind of like depth range for some reason. And 2, if you're fishing a floating dock, if you keep a spinnerbait where, if it's stained water, if you keep a spinnerbait just barely out of sight like that, you got your float, but the spinnerbait is like here. So, and they're suspended here, right? They're under. You're throwing it right in front of their nose,
right?
So don't make them come up and get it. We don't think about. I don't personally think about making them come up and get it until the water temperature is basically over 65.
Right.
And when it gets over 65, they'll come up and get it.
Danny?
Yes, sir.
I'm not trying to contradict Ryan at all, but I'll throw a spinnerbait sometimes wanting it to make a big splash when it hits up shallow, because I think it attracts or turns a fish thinking that something else is popping in the water or jumping. And I got that from Okeechobee.
Okay.
I used to flip in Okeechobee and it'd be 4 or 5 feet away and that reed would shake like hell coming over to where my bait is. So I think noise sometimes makes a difference.
Okay, let me ask you guys this, because I know you talking about Okeechobee, and Tim, you fish over there off the Coosa, a lot of that over there, Brushy Branch and all that, where it's dirty water and all that. Is that more of a dirty water, warmer kind of thing? Would you be doing that this time of year? Would you be splashing it this time of year, or would you be fishing a little bit different? And that's a question for you, Kevin, or Tim, either one.
I would start off as Ryan states, trying to be quiet. But if I'm not getting bit, I'm gonna start doing something else with that spinnerbait, making a noise.
I got you. Okay, makes sense.
I've did it both ways. I've let it splash, and sometimes if it's a big laydown, I'll try to pitch it up on the laydown and just let it plop in the water like something fell off the log. And sometimes before I've even got the spinnerbait turned straight, they've already ran out and sucked it down because I guess they figure it was something that fell off the log they want to hit.
Okay, so that's the beautiful thing about fishing. Is like Ryan's got his way, y'all got y'all's way, and all that, and it can all work. But it's good to know that if, okay, what I'm doing is not working so good, Ryan said, try this, and then you can try that and kind of put it in your arsenal, or vice versa. Since we had a couple of questions, Ryan, about trailers and hooks and all that, I'm going to pull up Eric's question right here, and you can address all of that. What is your absolute favorite spinnerbait, the weight, the blade color, the trailer, and go ahead and address the trailer hook issue all right there.
For this time of year, from now through basically the end of April, when I'm on throw spinnerbait, I'm reaching for a War Eagle spinnerbait. I am, and it's in stained water. I'm gonna throw one that's chartreuse and white, like that one. Got a lot of chartreuse and white in it. And then for blade combination, I start with a brass on the top and a nickel on the bottom. And I throw the double willow more than I do anything. There are some certain situations where I have thrown a double Colorado like this one. This one's chartreuse and white too. That is a lot more dirtier water to where a willow, the double willow, I feel like I need some more pump or no more thump to get bit. And then I know people are going to say it, so I'm going to go ahead and address it. And there are certain situations where having the orange kicker blade on a spinnerbait with a coleslaw style skirt like that, it does outshine other styles of spinnerbait. So it's just up to you on a regular basis, on a daily basis, to figure out what to throw, how to throw it, what combination to throw. But generally, if I can see, basically about a foot down or so, I'm going to stick primarily with a chartreuse and white. If I can see further than that, I'm going to throw one that's white, a solid white one. Okay. And then there are other instances too, where if the water gets a little bit clearer, then I swap the blade combination, or I put a nickel willow on the top, and then I have a brass on the bottom. So that's pretty much basically my go-to, and kind of like a cloudier water. And I just tie this skirt on myself on them. And it's going to be really hard to see, but it's got a faint chartreuse in it. It's mainly white, but it's got a little bit of chartreuse in it, and it's not a loud chartreuse. It's a very faint chartreuse on this particular spinnerbait. This one is a Accent Lures. This is the Jacob Wheeler spinnerbait from Accent Lures, and it does have the little, what do you call these things? The blades on them are slitted on the end of them.
Something shell or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember what the exact name. Someone in the comment section may be able to say what it is, but that's kind of primarily what I keep it to. I try to keep it simple and just try to match, my blade combination and my skirt combination to the water temperature. And I don't really change trailers. I always put the same one on. There's you guys that know me. I throw that Bass Pro Shops Cajun trailer. that's just it's in blue glimmer color, and that's the one that I throw, and that's it right there. It's on this spinnerbait. It's that one right there, and that's just what I throw it on there. And I don't get too crazy wound up about trailer hook. I put pretty much a fluted. That's it. Somebody said fluted. I don't get too crazy wound up about a trailer hook. I do always throw a trailer hook though. Well, with a spinnerbait, especially, on a lake like Lake Lanier, for example. And I just put a 2/0 trailer hook on it. And that's, that's kind of as simple as I can get it. It's really simplified. I've simplified it down to the way I fish and the way I like to fish, and that works for me. The biggest thing is it works for me. But that's pretty much my 1-2 punch. That's kind of how I do it. And and then weight. I primarily, to help me keep it where I want to keep it, I primarily fish a 1/2 ounce War Eagle.
There's guys, listen, a bunch of you guys are throwing comments out there, so we're way behind. So I went ahead and scrolled all the way to the bottom. I do know, Ryan, okay, so you never upsize your trailer for any reason on a spinnerbait.
I personally don't, but I know some people who do, and there's nothing wrong with that. Having a bigger, bulkier trailer, especially one that like swims, like a paddle tail threaded on, there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing about a paddle tail is it doesn't allow me to keep the spinnerbait where I want to keep it in the shallower water. Because with that extra lift, because you already got the lift with the blades, wanting to already bring the spinnerbait up with the blades, and then if you have a paddle tail back there swimming, it's also going to help provide extra lift, and it's going to keep it where I don't want to keep it.
Okay. Matt Bryson on TikTok said that flutter down action of a spinnerbait falling is deadly. I think that's in response, Tim, to what you were saying. Let me ask you this. I noticed that on all the combos you had, you either had a nickel and a gold or brass or whatever. When would you ever use nickel? When do you go with that? Like a double willow nickel?
Just in a lot clearer water.
That's a clear water thing.
Yeah. Okay. If I can see, 3 feet or beyond, I'm gonna throw one with double willow or the double nickel willow blades.
Okay. So. And guys, again, if I missed your question, type it again. That was just so far behind. I saw the things that Ryan and them were reading. I'm like, I don't even see them on my screen. Do you make the blade combinations on the water, or do you have all tied available spinner baits and just swap the baits with a clip and all that? So you don't ever change any blade combos on the water. You just got that many spinner baits that you'll just pick up the one you need for a given situation.
I like pre-make them. Like I pre-put them together the way that they are, and then like my boat, when you open up the lid on the main storage compartment, it's got a magnet and a foam sticker thing, and I just take the hook and bury it in there. And then if I get to a situation where I want to change blade combination or skirt combination, all I got to do is step down the bottom of the boat, lift up the lid, put the other one on, tie it on, and go.
Yeah, you don't use a clip. I've never seen you use a clip.
No. I am anti clip. So
listen, I knew that.
It works for you. Anybody in the comment section or anybody watching this, works for you, great. But I am anti clip. I trust my knot before I trust a clip. So
what about you, Kevin and Tim? You guys use a clip or y'all straight tie them?
No. I carry enough to retie.
Yeah.
Okay. I got you. Now, how deep do you fish willow leaf? Now, I will just say this, Patricia. Normally when I see him fishing, it's just down. You can barely see the flash of the blade. And what he tells me, again, because I've been on the boat with him, he just wants to see that blade disappear. When that blade disappears, you're crossing its eyes or whatever you want to do at that point. Am I correct still, Ryan?
Yeah. And that's one thing is the bite. And Kevin and Tim can probably back me up on this. This time of year, a spinnerbait bite, if you feel them get it and pull, nah, that ain't a good one. You want to throw a spinnerbait up there and damn, it feels funny. When it feels funny, it's a good one. It's because one's inhaled it. You know, it's got it. You won't, if you throw like a real sensitive rod, like I throw one on, and a shorter rod that's really sensitive with fluorocarbon line, you know, you can feel the little slight tick. If you feel a slight little
the blade thumping, when that blade stops, they ate it.
Yep.
Yeah, but if you throw a spinnerbait by a dock or something like that, and all of a sudden you feel woo-woo like that, and you set the hook, most of the time, now I'm not going to say all the time, but I'm going to say most of the time, it's about 12 inches long.
Yeah, I've heard him say that 100 times.
Well, I mean, that's because the majority of the bigger fish I catch this time of year on spinnerbaits, like you don't even know it's there.
Right.
You know, you don't even have any idea it's there. Sometimes you don't even see it. And if you keep the blades where I'm describing how to keep them, that's why your eyes. That's why these are your most important. You know, your most important tool is your eyes. I've seen some, you know, get it, and I've seen them get it, and I don't know how the hell they got it, and how the hell they didn't jerk the rod out of my hand.
Right.
But I've seen the spinnerbait coming, and all of a sudden the blades go, and you're like, and you set the hook, and you're like, I didn't even feel it do anything, you know. Right. So it.
Speaking of which, because there was a question earlier, and you kind of brought it up there. Number one, I'm pretty sure I know this. You throw it on a bait caster exclusively. I don't think you ever throw a spinnerbait on a spinning reel. Correct?
I don't. No.
Okay. All right. So go ahead. You just mentioned the sensitivity and all that. Give me your setup.
It's a custom made rod. It's 6'10", medium heavy with a fast tip. So the tip has some flex to it, but then it's pretty stiff coming up. When I built the rod, the guy who built the rod for me, I actually went and marked it on the blank where I wanted him to cut each end, and that's where he cut it, and that's where he built the rod. And then I just throw it on a it's just a 7 1-to-1 gear ratio reel, and 17-pound. I only throw it pretty much on 17-pound fluorocarbon, whatever it's called, sunline.
See, so. I like it, but I will tell you this, guys, if you're ever on a boat with Ryan, because he's a very big individual, I'm glad he took a couple inches off that rod, because them damn things fly by your face. I don't know how many times I've heard it. I've been fishing with him. It's like, whew, it scares me, but he never hit me.
Flutter by.
he never hit me, but it is kind of scary. How about this one right here? Is there ever a time to throw a dark spinnerbait outside of the summer? Outside of the summer, this time of year up to the spawn.
That's just your personal preference, you know. If you want to, I know bluegill patterns get real popular, but you know, just that's
whatever you're
confident
green, black, blue.
Yeah, I mean, just
nobody fishes that. Except at night. Let me back up. But at night in the summer, you're right, Danny.
Yeah.
All you see are the whites, the chartreuse whites, all chartreuse on some lakes. And then you got your glimmer blue skirts and so forth.
Yeah. It's pretty standard, right? I mean, there's not a ton of difference between the white chartreuse.
Well,
it's like right there.
They're trying to imitate shad or bluegill. So they're going to stay with those colors.
I got you. I believe it. Ryan, do you scope? I have had a lot of success running a spinnerbait over deeper brush. Do you fish it this way, or are you generally always on shallow cover? Now, Ryan is one of the guys that does, when we talk largemouth bass on Lake Lanier, lots of times Ryan's the guy that's on.
Try
to be. Yeah, right. So generally, I don't know if you do that, Ryan, but I know you spend a lot of time shallow or stuff like that, because you're targeting largemouth. If you catch a spot, great, but you're targeting largemouth. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather this time of year. I mean, that's what I'd rather do. Well, I mean, most of the year, that's what I'd rather do anyway. But you know, I'm never going to not shake a stick at spots, especially on a lake like Lanier. But you know, or Chateau, where they get big too. But you know, I'm not going to go out there and live scope, I think a comment was made 20 something minutes ago. I'm not really concerning myself with fishing, like the brush piles, scoping for this time of year. So to that comment that I'm saying, I'm fishing where the fish are going to. That's where I want to be. Right. And I just generally think that, I just generally think that, it's just better to be fishing this time of year where the fish are going. And that's just my opinion. So sometimes it bites me in the butt, but.
Well, no, it's what you like. I mean, Tim or Kevin, right now, if y'all were going tomorrow and you were throwing a spinnerbait, and again, because that's what the conversation is, you might not be throwing it on a normal day, but let's just say you are. I mean, I would imagine what I know of you two guys, y'all are going to be hitting the shallow stuff and basically where they're going or residential fish like that, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. No, you're right.
Yeah.
So like on Brushy Branch, Tim, on Brushy Branch, it's not clear, of course, like Lanier or
it's
anything like that.
Ever clear. It's always stained.
Always stained. What colors are you throwing? Because not everybody fishes Lake Lanier. A lot of guys get in some stained water and all that. So what colors are you throwing right now if you were going tomorrow?
If you get into a swamp like that, bluegill colors work really good.
So you would throw it.
Right, because, I mean, it's shallow water. There's all sorts of flats. It's got little bluegill everywhere in there versus like you get on Altoona or Lanier where it's more of shad, herring, stuff like that. A lot of those swamp fish, that's how they make their livings eating bluegill.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's see. Ryan, when are you pulling out the double buzz? Gonna be a hot minute, I would think.
April.
Yeah. So Tim, this is for you. Or Tim can tell you when you roll a spinnerbait next to a shallow dock at Weiss, and instead of a 5-pound larger, you get that 5-pound spot. That's when the rodeo begins.
Yeah, them Coosa spots over here are different.
It is a little bit different.
And Ron knows. Ron lives probably less than 10 or 15 miles from me. We're both from the same hometown here.
Yeah, y'all fish dirty water. I'm sorry. You know how I feel about Weiss. I know the fishing's great over there, but that lake.
The average depth of Lake Weiss is 5 feet, period. That's a full pool.
You can walk across it. It's so dirty. Okay, so anyway, Brushy Branch is a creek right now, if I remember right. Is it down? Is Brushy Branch down right now?
It's down, and when I went by there the other day, something's happened to one side of the dock, and you've got just enough room on one side to launch a boat, and I'm sure the trailer's dropping off the end of it right now. That's another reason. I hadn't been on the water in a while because I'm not going to go scratch my boat up on that. I've already got enough scratches on it from Chickamauga. I'm missing a chunk of gel coat about that big from Chick.
Ooh. How long will you throw a spinnerbait, Ryan, without a bite before going to something else? Is there a time that they just don't work? I mean, besides the time that cranking and yanking is throwing them. His words, not mine. His words. Okay, but Ryan, do you know where he's from?
And he's from like Louisiana.
Yeah, he fishes Caddo a lot. So he's got those big willow trees or whatever.
That spinnerbait should be killing them up in there.
How do you not get bit on a spinnerbait in Louisiana?
Or a chatterbait.
Or a chatterbait. I feel like you should just be able to they ain't biting nothing, so let's go throw a spinnerbait around some cypress trees.
Swim it through, knocking it off the trees
down and fish.
So no disrespect to that cranking and yanking either. It blows my mind. But
is it not the bassiest damn looking place you've ever seen in your life though? If you've ever seen a picture of it, it's amazing. It looks like
a target-rich environment for sure.
Yeah, that place down there looks like it. They should be a damn bass on. There should be 10 bass on every tree, ranging from a pound to 10 pounds. I mean, that's just what it looks like.
It's like if you go to heaven and you want a bass lake where cranking and yanking fishes, to me, that would be like, yeah, okay, Lord, I get it. That's pretty good.
To throw, staring at a vast cypress flat with a bunch of, it'd be like, where do you throw?
Everywhere, Tim. Everywhere.
Just fan cast.
That's exactly what it would be.
But in
Dingleberry.
all honesty, his question.
Yeah.
I'll throw it for a long time. I'll throw it for hours, and because I mean, you just never know this time of year. The bite window could open up, and you could completely miss it. You know, I mean, I've seen times where I've caught a limit. I've had nothing, and I've caught for Josh Good, since he keeps throwing in there, I've caught an 11 pound 40.47 ounce limit in like 2 pockets, so but in all honesty, it's just because it can happen really fast, especially if you get around some active fish. And this time of year, moving from now until into March, the bite windows it can be really, really, really important to be in a very high percentage place for the bite windows, because it could be the difference in not catching a fish and catching a kicker fish with a spinnerbait.
Gotcha.
It's also a good search bait. You got to remember that too.
Mm-hmm.
If you catch a couple of them in a little pocket, you can always go back with a jig or something.
Yeah,
but that's a moving bait.
Yeah, and it maybe they're just not in the mood to chase that day, because I've had that happen where you don't get hit on a spinnerbait and you may make another pass through there and poke a worm around in there, and all of a sudden you start getting bit. It's like when it falls in front of their face, they'll pick it up, but chase it now.
Okay,
that's when this starts happening.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Is that I ain't got my glasses on. 52 minutes. We're almost there to the middle of the show where we'll do the question of the night. Not quite, but we're almost there. I love this damn name right here. Dingleberry. Dingleberry's in the house tonight. Could you explain the timber line on Lake Lanier? I hear you get thrown down there. I hear you need to throw it down there, but have little understanding. So, Ryan, at what depth under the water on Lanier was the timber cut?
Like 40 foot.
Mm-hmm.
So, like everything like 40 foot and up. Don't ask me how they figured it out, geometry, geography, topography, but they basically cut everything that would be at full pull for the lake from like 40 feet and up is like gone. And then everything 40 feet and deeper, if there was trees there, the trees are still standing. But they went in and they cut the tops of them off throughout like the whole lake. So that's why when you look at them, especially with like forward facing sonar or down scan, that's why when you look at them, they come straight up and they stop.
Mm-hmm.
And they have they got some limbs, right? Sometimes coming out a little ways, but for the most part, it's it's right there. It's like 35, 40 foot, something like that.
Right.
So somewhere in that range.
And it just depends on the time of year of how you fish it. And then some guys will go right down there amongst all the timber, right down in there. Generally, that's with more of like a weedless shake in. A lot of guys have their Kitex or whatever above it, or flukes or everything. But you pretty much, if you wanted to, Ryan, you could fish the timber on Lanier year round. Yes.
Oh yeah. If you so desired, if that's what you wanted to do, that's how you want to fish. That's your confidence, is fishing deep offshore, stuff like that. Then I believe you could catch. I believe you could catch them any month of the year, any day of the year, whether it be in it or above it in some form or fashion.
Gotcha. Now, Tom put this up earlier too, something about green velvet. And I sit there thinking in my head, like, what in the hell is green velvet? So, Danny, if you can't find green velvet, you will find current. So, have you guys heard of the term green velvet before? Is he talking more like, I really don't know what you're talking about, Tom, to be honest with you. What do you guys ever heard that term?
No. He's talking about the green scum line that will set back into a cove,
Maybe, I don't know. Tom,
when the balling's on it, because if you've got current, you're not going to have that. It's going to be washed away.
So he does have another comment down here. Just below 2 tributary ditches is an underwater field. Okay. All right. Tim White, what's up, buddy? 35 feet. Patricia, 35 feet. So that's where they cut it. What's up, Kevin Underwood? How many questions and answers will there be on the question of the week? How many answers tonight?
Well, you had me shorten it. 1 question, 1 answer.
Did I have you shorten it?
Last week you cut it in half, so I did it for you this week.
Let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and do that.
Let me preface this before you say that. Let me preface this by saying to everybody,
wait a minute, don't get no answers.
That he acted like, oh, Danny and Ryan should know the answer to this question, and me and Danny were like, huh? So go ahead.
Okay, hey, real quick, let me read this. Green velvet is where clear water meets stained water. Okay. All right. I had not heard it called that, Tom. So I appreciate you saying that. But okay, now we know what green velvet is. I thought it was something Kevin wore back in the 70s. I didn't know.
You can see that here in Rome where the Oostanala and the Etowah literally meet, and that's the beginning of the Coosa. If you go down here and walk around Main Street and stuff, or if you go down the train trestle, you can literally see where those two rivers meet. And it's like one color, two color makes, and you can literally see a line across it where they collide.
And that is called green velvet, and that's how it will be addressed from here on out, thanks to Tom. So we'll know what green velvet will be.
All right, guys. Call it anything else.
That's right. We won't call it nothing else. All right, so guys, listen for the question. Now, unfortunately, you guys on TikTok, you got to be on YouTube to win this. But I'm gonna give some of the Smart Spray. I got a couple extra bottles of the Smart Spray from Fish Nerd Labs. This is what you put in, like when you've got one deep hooked or hooked in the gills and everything. Instead of wasting your Mountain Dew and all that stuff on it, this stuff is made to do it. So this is the prize for the night. Now, guys, if you had a question, we'll get back to it after the question of the night because it's kind of hard to watch for the answers. All right. So, Kevin, it's one question, one answer, right?
That's correct.
All right, guys. Best of luck. Go for it.
All right. I'm going back in time a little bit, gentlemen. Who recorded the record track, Fallen in Love? I'll read it one more time. Who recorded the record track, Fallen in Love?
If we wouldn't get gigged, I'd play it in the background, but like, just name that tune. Who did it?
I still don't know what the hell.
We already tried humming it. We give up.
Yeah, you don't want Kevin humming it. But now, guys, listen to the question again. Say it one more time because it's all in the details here. Say that question. Say that question one more time.
Who recorded the record track, Fallen in Love?
Now, in your answer, you can't have a wrong one. I'm not going to tell you, they can't have a wrong answer.
I know. I'm going to make sure it's the right one. Tim's abandoned me. I'll have to watch it.
Elvis Presley. There must be another Fallen in Love song. Now.
Can't help falling in love.
Okay. Damn it, Kevin. I want to give him a hint.
No.
Because, guys, details. Details.
Bite your damn tongue.
I'll put a dip in.
No. Yeah, do that. Do something. Go take a leak or something.
Oh, hell. Oh, see, it's old.
I ran out of tea. I had to get some tea. Elvis.
Yeah, and it ain't Michael Jackson.
I seen that. I seen the answer. It was from is it YouTube or Facebook?
Somebody's close.
You didn't see the answer.
Close.
Well, there's been 3 or 4 of them that are close.
No.
Yeah.
Again, details.
No details.
There's a small detail to it.
Y'all are giving clues.
I ain't giving no clue.
Details. That's a damn clue.
Can I give him a clue?
No.
I can't scroll the comments on here. I have to watch it on YouTube to be able to scroll back and forth. But
I'm just saying a lot of you guys are close.
They are dancing all around it.
Details. Guys, if you ever known Kevin to give you a question where the answer was just straight up front, there's a detail.
Here we go.
There's a detail.
He's
gonna beat my ass.
He tries to Google proof it. They're all Googling it, going, yeah, that's who recorded the album. It's who released it.
Who recorded the record track Fallen in Love?
Now,
don't bite your tongue.
Mm.
You can go on. I'll keep an eye out for it.
Okay. All right. So anyway, Ryan, while the rest of them think they're right and they're wrong, but they're right. Let's go ahead and let's transition into a floating worm a little bit. We'll get back on some of the
yeah, the second half of this show is floating worm, isn't it? when Ryan regains his composure.
I ought to just give it to Doc
People are
Holliday.
going as deep as like
it makes no difference if I have
record
one question,
company.
one answer, or one question, 10 answers. They still struggle.
Doc Holliday's just throwing a Van Halen out there, hoping for at least a pity win.
I ought to just give it to him because he's, at least he put the best band ever. I will buy the spray. But Clayton, y'all are so close, you just don't know. That's the thing, is like y'all are stomping the hell out of this answer, but you're just close.
I don't even know what it is.
I do. And Kevin won't let me say this.
But I'm going to quit telling you beforehand.
Here's your answer, but y'all can't read it. So
you do need to quit telling me the answer beforehand, because I want to help these guys out. I feel sorry for people. I got a giving heart, and I want to give them the answer. Give them some of that. Look right here. Give them some of that smart spray, and maybe they'll get it.
Smart spray.
Guys, I didn't even know the song. And even when Kevin tried to sing it, which was not a very good rendition of it, I still didn't know the song. But anyway, Ryan, because I don't think anybody's going to get my hint.
Kevin Edwards and Alice Cooper.
Listen, like Kevin's, this is where the evil Kevin, the evil Father Time comes out. What about yes, no?
Nope.
Okay.
Anyway. Wait a
This
minute.
might go
Back.
unanswered.
Let me see. All right. There is an answer.
Is it Bill? Is it Bill? Bill Batts?
Bill Batts.
Okay, guys, listen. You guys jumped right on Google and you jumped on AI. And here's the difference. You guys were all putting who wrote the song. The question was who recorded it. Now, Kevin explained that, and Bill, you win. Explain to him why he wins, and the rest of them are wrong.
All right. Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds wrote the song, but the track was recorded by just Hamilton and Joe Frank. Reynolds was no longer with the band when they recorded that song. They brought in a new band member, but they kept the old name for familiarity.
See, guys, I was trying to help you. That's why I was trying to say details. There's one detail, and finally, Bill got it. So, Bill, if I don't have your address, hit me on Facebook Messenger, if you don't mind, and give me your address, and I will ship out some smart spray, courtesy of Fish Nerd Labs. And but there was a lot of really good answers there. And I was just, how many guys had it? Like, they had 3 answers. They had all 3 of them.
Yeah, they did quite a few,
and it was killing me. It was killing me to watch that. Oh, well, time for another beer, Jerry said. So yeah, I get it. All right. So anyway, all right, let's kind of, if you guys have some spinnerbait questions, we can continue on that. But I want to transition because I want to make sure we get this in. It's time for the floating worm. The worm. That damn methylate worm, or pink, or bubble gum,
banana.
So anyway, let's talk about it, Ryan. I have been on a boat when Ryan fished this. You remember the last time we fished and you were throwing the methylate worm? That was when I hooked that really good one on the Ned rig. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those that's not one I'm going to forget anytime soon.
Yeah, you didn't even know it was on.
No, story of my life.
Swimming down the bank.
It is.
Ryan set the damn hook.
Well, hey, bro, your line's swimming off. Do something.
Well, so I'm watching Ryan, and if you know anything about Ryan's on the trolling motor pretty good. So I had a Ned rig kind of tied on or something like that, and I'm watching Ryan. I'm paying attention because when we talk floating worm, you get some really quick, really vicious hits. I'm not expecting to catch nothing, and I'm expecting that worm of his just all of a sudden. So I'm throwing behind him, but I'm watching him. And he had gone down a little section, and I tossed that thing up, and I wouldn't pay no attention. And yeah, I mean, what do you reckon was about 5.5, 5.5 maybe?
Yeah, we almost got it, but it come on.
Ron was like, "It's a good one."
Yeah, it's a good one.
It wasn't that man error, was it?
No.
It wasn't.
No,
It never
no
could
net
get
man
in
error.
range.
No, it wasn't a netman error because what I did, those little weedless Neds that I pour that's got the real fine hook. That's what was on there. And I think I tried to force it up right there, didn't I, right there at the end? And we thought my line broke, but what actually happened was
I thought it broke you off, and then
it come unpinned.
Yeah, it come unpinned.
So
So
anyway, but it was a good time. But
it's
anyway,
fishing.
it is fishing.
It's fishing.
So anyway, all right, Kevin Underwood, you be good, buddy. I know you got to work tomorrow. So yeah. So don't y'all know all of the ones you lose are 10 pounds. I would say that cranking and yanking, but I'm the king of the 2-pound spotted bass on Lake Lanier. And when I get a 5-pound largemouth, that seems like 10 pounds to me. And it had nothing to do with the net, man. I cannot blame this on Ryan. We'll wait. We'll give it another year as the story grows. Next year, I'll blame it on Ryan. All right. But Ryan, you were throwing that. All right. You were throwing that. When do we start throwing the floating methylate worm? And let's talk about your setup and how you hook yours.
I really start throwing it more when like I start getting spinnerbait bites in locations where like, probably a bed there. That's probably where it came from. And that's kind of really where I start really like thinking about a floating worm. The other time that I will pick up a floating worm a little earlier than normal will be when I know that they are shallow, they are thinking about spawning, getting ready to spawn, and like the wind is just like we have a high bluebird sky day, and there's like ain't a drab of wind whatsoever. It gets kind of tough on a spinnerbait, I guess to say the least. Especially when the water starts getting a little bit clearer in some areas. But again, the same thing that goes with the spinnerbait is going to go with the floating worm. It is accuracy and where you throw it. Accuracy where you got to throw it places where you might get hung. That's the only way you're going to really get bit. And it's kind of funny you say that though, because it's really any lure, I guess, is the best way to do it. But I do have a preference when it comes to floating worm, and I do like the softies.
Yep,
that's the 6.25
meat getter,
and methylate. As far as color is concerned, throw your favorite color. I mean, you can throw whatever you can throw a June bug one. I mean, it don't matter. I like this one because for one, I can see it really good, and two, there's something about a methylate or a bubblegum worm during the when fish are starting to think about spawning. And I don't know if there's any biologists in the house, but maybe they can explain as to why bubblegum and like methylate works really good. I don't know, but
I don't think there's anybody in the world that can explain why methylate works. We just know it does.
Me neither.
Yeah. I mean, that there's nothing in the water.
That's a mystery of the modern universe.
Right. Real quick, John G, he does still recommend the Bass Pro Shops on his trailer. What was the name of it again, Ryan?
It's called the Cajun Trailer.
That's right, Cajun Trailer. Softy does float too. That is another thing about a softy worm, is they are naturally, like even on a drop shot or whatever, them worms will sit like that, and they make it sets up perfect.
I'm glad somebody said that because I'll pound that. Somebody said that. I can bound on that right there.
Which one?
Hookup ratio, not too good on a floating worm.
Oh, damn, we lost Kevin. All right, well, go ahead and expound on that.
Well, it's a lot to do with your line that you're using and then how you rig it. And then it's also right here, because a lot of people set the hook too fast. And I've been fishing. I've took people fishing and throw it, and they get bit. And as soon as they see it disappear, they set the hook. And that's too fast. That's way too fast.
Let them eat it.
Yes. And I know it's easy. It's easier said than done. It's like throwing a topwater lure. You know, they always say the old adage about topwater is don't sweep into them or set the hook or whatever until you feel the bass pull back, right? You know, it's the same thing, but it's it's the way you rig it is very important, and the hook that you use. There's a ton of videos out there that about using it, and there's all kinds of hooks, and I seen that comment.
I threw that in there really, really fast.
Yeah. But anyway, so like color, you know, I've been seeing some colors. I don't care what color you throw whatever you got confidence in. That's most important. If you like lime, if you lime truce or whatever, it don't matter. Throw the one that you like the most. That's first set. That's the first key. So a lot of people throw a floating worm on a spinning outfit, and I don't throw one on a spinning outfit. So I throw it on casting gear, and I throw it on big line, and I've rigged up a thing. This is pretty much the exact same way that I rig it up. Is the exact thing. So so we got our rod coming up. I throw it on like a that's like a 6:4 gear ratio reel, and I throw a 7 foot medium heavy rod that's kind of got a little bit of a soft tip, but still has some backbone, because it's not a big jig or anything, or a big old piece of plastic where you've really got to have a heavier rod to really, like, you know, get it into them. But you know, something like your jig rod, like something, or you know, something along the Texas rig rod, something along those lines, is pretty decent rod to throw it on. I throw it on a 15-pound CXX P line. That's what I throw it on, and that is my main line, and then that is my leader line right here. This is 15 pound. All right, it's got stretch. Okay, it does stretch. It also, too, within the name, is floating. Monofilament copolymer doesn't sink as fast as fluorocarbon. Okay, I also, too, think that the monofilament helps with your hook sets and actually getting a hook in those fish, because it allows them to really get the worm better. So leading all the way down, this is about I don't know, 10 to 12 inch leader, somewhere around in there. That's about how long this leader is, and that's about typically where I keep it. And then, of course, I prefer the Softies. Zoom. There's a bunch of different worm companies, but I prefer the Softies because they do float. So the worm itself, it's a trick worm. You know, it's the meat getter from Softies, what they call it. But it's a trick worm. So let me get in some good position here. So here's the worm. This is the fat end. So if you were rigging it like on a shaky head or a Texas rig, there's your tail end, right? You know, this is the fatter end. This is the tail end. We're going with the fatter end right here. And you've got a flat. And here's one of the other reasons why I like the Softy. And I can't show it on here, but if any of you have ever like used the Softy worm, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say this. But on Softy, they have the little name down in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right above where the Y is on Softy, that's where I start my hook point. Okay. This is a 5/0, and make sure you're paying attention to this, because I've tried other hooks and it doesn't work as good. It doesn't keep the worm as good as you would think. So it's kind of important. It really is. This is a 5/0 Gamakatsu, and it is the offset shank, and it makes sure it says RB on it, on the end of it, which is round bend. we have a round bend, as you can see right there. All right, that helps with the placement for what I'm about to show you here in a second on rigging this thing. So we got the worm. We found our softy name right in here. You'll have to bear with me, Danny. I'm going to try to keep it in frame as best I can.
Oh, you're doing fantastic.
So I come right in here just like this, and I push it all the way past the barb. All right, see right there? So the barb is actually starting to, or the point of the hook is actually starting to poke through. All right, then I take it right here, and I back off just a little bit and pass it through. So there, now you're coming through. You see how it's created this bend already starting to go into it? So then I take it and then I run it up just like you would any other soft plastic that you're trying to Texas rig. So then you just come all the way up here and you push it right up here. And this is where the round bend, this is your next step. And this is why I personally feel that the round bend is where it's most important for actually keeping this thing rigged up, because I'll actually skip this bait underneath docks too. And having it with this hook will actually help keep the worm intact and still have the profile. So we're there. All right. You can see kind of right there.
Yeah. And you did not go through the worm.
Do not go through the worm. I never pass through this side right here. Mm-hmm. Never pass through. You get all the way to that point and then you kind of back it back and then you come back through. And I can rig it again maybe in a better frame.
That's
so
good.
Then you push it through just like this, and there it is through there. Now, the key important thing is then when we're going to, and I'm just going to have to rig this thing because I can't really show it in the camera though as good. But you're going to come in here just like you would any other piece of plastic. You're going to try to pretend you're going to keep it as straight as possible, right? The only difference is what you're wanting to do is instead of going straight in the middle of the plastic, what you're actually going to do is you're going to find the side that it wants to lay on. All right. So it's wanting this particular way it's actually wanting to lay on this side. Okay. So then I'm going to come in right here, right to the side of that flat, and I'm going to bend it back just like you would a Texas rig and poke it through just like so. All right. And then when it is rigged, just like this, right here, barely have the hook point up. And that's the way that it looks.
Yeah. So it
doesn't look straight. There it is like that.
Show the bottom. Show on the bottom, the flat side, because he does not go dead center. That's what he's talking about. It's a little bit of a twist, kind of. You can't
see
really
kind of like it's off to the side.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep it still.
Yeah, it's hard to keep it still, and somebody might not be able to see it because of that. But he's actually, if you took the flat side of the worm, he is off one side or the other. It's never in the center.
Yeah, if you look on this side, you can kind of see right there. See how the points starting to stick? That's where the point's starting to stick out a little bit. Then compare it to this side. See? Now you can see what I'm talking about. See how you can see all the way the hook to the other side, but you can see the worm. But then when you flip it around the other side, look, there's the hook point.
Yeah, it's not dead center.
And that's how I rig it, and that's the way it looks right there. And then when you throw it, and then as you twitch it, this boot right here, just like that, it will cause it to act a little bit erratic, and it'll almost do this little dance that's kind of side to side, and it'll kind of do this little like that. And then you'll be throwing it, and it'll hit the water, and you'll start doing this, and you're just wanting to try to keep it, 5, 6, 7 inches or so below the surface, roughly. That's all you're kind of wanting to keep it in that range. Sometimes you can keep it a little bit deeper. It doesn't hurt, but that's kind of mentally when you're throwing it, that's where you want to keep it, is in that range. And it's you basically take it then and you're just twitching it, and all of a sudden there'll just be a damn flash and it's gone. And so as soon as you see the worm disappear and you see the flash, it takes practice, but go 1 1,000, 2 1,000, and then set the hook. If you can wait, if you can teach yourself to wait, you'll have a much higher hookup ratio. You also, too, your hookup ratio helps if you look right here, too, the way the worm is rigged. The hook is more back towards the middle of the worm instead of may up closer to the front. So that's kind of the way to rig it. That's the way I rig it.
Now I want to pull this up too, because a lot of guys, when we talk bubblegum methylate, Tim said a bubblegum fluke is fire next to docks after the bass spawn and pull out, suspend to recover and all that. And it is true. This is the time of year, or that is the time of year too, when you see the bubblegum and methylate flukes. They sell real heavy during that as well. So let me ask you this: how did you figure that out? Because a lot of guys, and I've done it myself, we've always hooked it straight, right in the end of the nose, just like we were Texas rigging. Throw it out there and we work it. And it does have a little bit of movement, but not as much as this way that you've got. How did you figure that out?
There's a video. So the methylate trick worm actually won a tournament back in the early 90s when he first came over here from Japan by Takahiro Omori on Sam Rayburn. And there's actually in the video of the event, the camera guy on the last day actually shows him rigging it, and he rigged it that way. And then through simple Google after that, there's some videos and there's some other stuff about how people rigged it. And so I started rigging it that way, and it seems to work better. I've been in the front of the boat and I've been in the back of the boat, and with one person rigging it straight and then me rigging it the way that I rig it, and I get a whole lot more bites than they do. It doesn't matter if I'm in the front or the bite or front or the back of the boat.
So for somebody that's never thrown it, kind of compare the difference in like kind of like we're talking glide baits, a glide bait will kick this way, kick that way. Certain ones will kick farther than others. So like a straight floating worm will kick 5-6 inches, something. Just kind of tell me that. And then what's the difference in this as far as the,
it kind of comes towards you slowly. And having the swivel on the front not only helps me cast it, and this is kind of a bigger swivel, but having the swivel on the front helps you cast it on a casting setup, but then also too, it kind of helps because as you twitch it, the swivel kind of rises up, and then as the swivel goes back down, because it's a piece of metal, obviously, so it's going to sink. It wants to sink. It kind of helps it. It's kind of going up and down and up and down and up and down. And then having the mono, because the swivel is so light, kind of the best way to describe it. It doesn't come straight up and then come straight back down like a rock. It kind of comes up, and then as the mono wants to keep it up a little bit, it kind of, and then it falls, if that makes sense.
No, it does. And let me ask you this. This is for me. Could you not do the same thing with a fluke this time of year? Or is there a reason why we do it with the worm and not a fluke style bait?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with a fluke. I mean, if I was going to fish a primarily spotted bass lake, and the fish were a little bit deeper, I feel like a fluke this time of year kind of has a little bit more drawing power. But I feel like you don't get bit as much on a fluke until it starts getting a little bit warmer. Mm-hmm. The reason why is because, and this is just me, I feel like they haven't seen that like in a year.
Right. Yes. It's the last time you come by. Right.
So it's something a little bit different, it looks different for a little while, but when you get one that's like making a bed or is in the process of hanging around a bed or something, and they haven't actually done the deed yet, you throw this over their bed, and you may not be able to physically see the bed, but you throw this over their bed or near close to their bed, and it stays there too long. Bass don't have hands. They ain't got pockets. So all they're going to do is eat it. I mean, they ain't got nothing else to do with it. So they grab it. And, they're grabbing it to kill it. You know, they're not grabbing. I don't think they grab a floating worm, whether it's bubble gum or methylate or banana seed or whatever. I don't think they grab it, but I'm hungry. I think it's more like a predatory. I think you're triggering their predatory instincts of defense. And they're like, I get this crap out of here. And they eat it. And they just swallow it. So
okay. Knowing that, Tim, Kevin, do you throw the floating worm any at all? And if so, do you rig it similar or work it similar, or are there differences in how you guys do it?
Tim?
I do throw it. I haven't tried rigging it like that, but I'm going to.
Okay, there you go.
I have not thrown it in 10 years, and I didn't rig it like that, but I rigged it traditional, as he would call it, and just put a little bend in the worm before I hooked it back in so that it would dart through the water as well. But I haven't thrown one in 10 years. Now, I like this rigging technique he just showed us. I might try that again.
I think the boot, I think the little boot.
I can see the way
it causes resistance.
Okay, what amazed me was, and I was going to ask him about this, you're throwing it on a bait caster. How are you skipping that thing?
I got skills, man.
You must.
No, it's
when he first said that, I thought, how?
That's what
I've seen it.
Like 10 years ago when I first started throwing it, like trying to throw it, like I was throwing it on a spinning rod, and I lost some good fish. And that was one eye opener. I was like, damn, like that was a 4-pounder. Why couldn't I get a hook in it? So
you
I
can
was
throw
like,
15 pound on a medium heavy spinning rod if you're throwing 15 pound on your bait caster.
It's just, listen, he's old school. He's going to throw it on a bait caster if he can get away with a bait caster.
If I can get away with anything on a bait caster, I'm going to throw it on a bait caster.
Yeah.
Much kudos to you, man, to throw it on a bait caster.
Skipping it takes some practice, but you can skip it. If you're a pretty good skipper, if you can skip a lot of different baits, you know, it's really simple. I can tell you this, the first thing that, and this is my growing pain, so I'll share this with everybody. This was my growing pains with this, converting over from a 7-foot medium heavy spinning rod to a bait caster. You can't throw it that hard. There is no slinging it. It is click the button on your reel and just kind of lob it. And when in terms of skipping it, your skip needs to be real gentle, because if you got your reel set up correctly with, you know, take the magnetics off a lot, leave them on like 2, and then adjust everything from your line tension on the knob for the actual tension on the spool. If you get it set up right where you'll press the button and it'll fall, and about the time it hits the water, if it hits the water and it kind of overruns 1 or 2 little loops, that's like the ideal little scenario with your reel. That then, as long as you know how to skip, you're a good skipper and you can skip decent, you already have the inherent ability to feather the line with your thumb. So when you go to skip it underneath docks, you're already there and you're able to kind of feather the line, and you don't backlash. Now, can you skip it like you can a jig? Can you get it way back in there? No, but you know, you can throw it up underneath the walkway. You can skip it underneath the cable. I can get one probably about, you know, maybe 8 to 10 feet, you know, pretty regularly. And sometimes that's just enough.
Me too, Ryan.
Yeah, I know you can.
No, I can't. The only thing I can skip with is a spinning rod. But do you think, though, with the bait caster, as far as like, I know you do all your little gyrations and all that, but honestly, straight up, like setting the hook and everything and actually powering that fish out of that, you had the advantage with the bait caster over a spinning reel?
I feel like with a bait caster, setting it up, for one, I have better control over how I work the worm.
Mm-hmm.
The way that a bait caster sits in your hand, you know, like think of it like topwater. You know, it's easier to throw a topwater plug and work it with a bait caster because it fits in your hand, right? It fits in the palm of your hand. Well, you're almost like now I guess I probably should say this. Now, the action that you impart into the floating worm isn't this,
it's not a jerk bait.
It's not a fluke.
Yeah.
It's not like action you put on a fluke. It is very subtle. It is a very, you want the tip of the rod to just move enough, because I want it to only move a little bit. I want it to dance, and I want it to do this, and I want it to only move a little ways. The other thing too is, like, when I'm doing this, I'm covering a lot of water with it. Now you're going to think, how in the hell do you cover a lot of water with this thing? I throw it up there where I think there's one going to be around my target. I work it for, 10, 15 seconds, reel it back in, and I'm throwing somewhere else. I don't work it all the way back to the boat.
Right.
Generally, and this is definitely not the law, my experience generally on this floating worm, where you throw it, typically it's you throw it, it lands, you let it sink for about a couple seconds, and then you start slowly doing it. Typically after about the fifth twitch, if one ain't already on it, there typically isn't one there.
Mm-hmm.
They'll bite it pretty quick. They will bite it pretty quick.
It's very similar to how I work a weightless wacky. I mean, I throw it up on the bank, and generally that strike zone is the first 10 foot off the bank. And if you ain't got it by then, I'm reeling it back and throwing it. And that's what he does, because he's got his trolling motor on 122 as he's going down doing this. So you have to understand. Don't you even look at me like I'm lying, because your trolling motor is on 10. You and Farmer are the two fastest trolling motor fools I've ever been.
Him and Farmer are both the same way on that.
You guys ought to be in the back of the boat with these guys where they're working this thing, which is why I was paying attention that day. I hooked that one. I was paying attention to you, because we're going down the. I mean, we're setting a wake. We're going so fast with that trolling motor and all that, but it is kind of interesting. Now, you said this is a later spawn, though. You could throw it now if you wanted to, but this is going to be late spawn or late pre-spawn into the spawn when you start bringing these out.
For me, yeah. If I put the boat in the water, whether it be a tournament or just fishing, just fun fishing, whatever. If I put the boat in the water and I see like 59, almost 60, I'm gonna throw that. I will throw it. I will definitely throw it.
Yeah. Kevin, Doc Holliday's put this on a couple of times. Are you fishing berries Saturday on Sinclair?
I answered it once. No, I'm not. My partner also fell. My partner messed up his Achilles as well, and he's in a boot.
Good Lord, y'all having problems with Achilles over in your area.
I'm telling you.
Now, Dane, I do work it deep. I do work it deep sometimes, but generally, if I'm throwing a weightless and I'm with somebody like Ryan, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I'm with somebody that's moving fast and I'm throwing it behind him or something like that, I'm not letting it sink all the way to the bottom. I'm looking for something suspended up under a dock, by a blow down or something like that. Kind of same thing that he's doing. Now, Ryan, I have seen you throw this, like you got a blow down coming across. You'll take a little more time and work that. I've seen you throw it and bring it through just the nasty part of it.
Yeah, I will. I mean, that's where I'm trying to get bit. That's sometimes these fish that'll bite that thing, you always hear all the time it's spawning fish, post-spawn fish, fry garters, stuff like that. But it actually works well beforehand. And you're wanting to throw it in different areas, different kinds of cover. So the last blowdown in the back of a pocket, spawning pocket. The dilapidated dock that looks like nobody's walked on it since Jethro got his jig hung on it, 2 years ago. That one, I'll work around it. I'll make multiple casts around something like that, trying to get one. The biggest one that I've ever caught on a floating worm was close to 6 pounds on Lanier, and it come out of the middle of a pocket. There's nothing left back there. So it was, I threw to the left, worked it. I threw back to the back left-hand corner as far as I could throw it, worked it. Threw it to the right, worked it, and then threw straight down the middle as far back as I could throw it and worked it. And the fish bit like 10 feet from the back where there's no more water. And it was like dead in the middle of the pocket. And all she did was come up and she got it. And this is the funnest part about this bite. When a big one gets it, it makes a bowl,
toilet bowl.
Like the worm disappears, and then all of a sudden the water just like So, and if you see that, if you pay attention to the bowl of a fish too, that'll really help your hookup ratio a lot better too. Because by the time the bowl happens, that fish has it in its mouth real good before it's thinking about doing it. I have also been practicing, and I have got one bite it, and I have literally, it's got it. Damn, it's got it. And hold the rod up, and it starts swimming down the bank with it. It wouldn't let go. And then I had to kind of, come on, let go. And then all of a sudden it started acting funny. Oh shit, I got a hook in it. And sure enough, I did got a hook in it. So,
I was going to say that you talk about the spinnerbait. We were talking about spinnerbait earlier. All of a sudden it's like you were kind of describing that bite when a big one gets it. It just kind of like, it's funky. Tim, you said it, same thing. It's just kind of funky. I've seen him throw this, and that you don't, well, at least in my experience, you don't see him following it, like coming up, checking it out. It's like, boom, when you get across
it comes out of nowhere.
It comes really out of nowhere. It is. And that bowl he's talking about, honestly, it's like if you do what?
Just like the bigger the fish, they'll just run up and inhale it and sit there. They'll take off running like small fish will.
It's weird, but if you went and flushed your toilet, honest to goodness, and you see it start that twirl, that's what he's describing right there. I mean, it really is a flush, and it's coming out of nowhere, and it will just shock the snot out of you if you're not expecting it, because it always happens. Tim Wyatt, I feel exactly the same way as you. He keeps talking about being a good skipper. I'm more like a bad Gilligan. I even suck skipping with a spinning rod. Not many docks on hickory log to practice on. Unfortunately, our electric only reservoirs do not have them. Latham doesn't have it either. That's why I'm terrible. We blame it on that. Derek White's got a good question. Do you put your graph on perspective mode and see these fish? Now, I fished with you. You don't ever mess with your forward facing at all when we're doing this. You don't even look at any of your graphs pretty much when we do this.
When I'm doing this, I don't really need it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with perspective mode. If you're good with it, then I guess go for it. I mean, that's any advantage you can get, that's fantastic. Go for it. I personally, I shut everything off. I don't need it because everything I'm fishing is with my eyes. Everything's instinct. Where should one be? I think there should be one there. Let's see if there's one there. Oh, there ain't one there. Well, let's try over here. Oh, there's not one there. Oh, let's throw over here. Oh, there's one. So I just don't run it while it's doing it. But I mean, if you're good enough with perspective mode, then I mean, by all means, go for it. So I'm not anti-forward facing sonar or anything because I have it. But I mean, if you're good with it, you're good with it.
I
used to not like it. I used to think it was bad, but
he did. He came over to the dark side, cranking and yanking. He did.
I mean, my graphs, my graphs primarily stay off anyway. So I mean,
right.
I don't have a lot of money invested in my graphs. I mean, my LVS 34s. I'm still looking at old 9-inch Garmin. I don't particularly care to upgrade. So
right.
Me personally.
Yeah, Tracy Coker says, what I've seen is when a big fish bites a worm or a jig, they pick it up and run with it. I don't catch enough big ones to be able to. You other guys can talk about that one. I get lucky every once in a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're back in Florida when I came out, a lot of grass around those lakes. If the bass picked it up and ran out from the grass, it was a big fish, and there were other fish still in the grass. If he took it and ran back in the grass, then there was no other fish around there, and he was a loner. So just something to think about. If they do pick it up and run with it, what direction are they going? Away from the structure that you had, or where you're flipping that jig or worm?
Well, do you think that's because of competition? Like
yes.
They get it. Okay, that's a competition thing. Just like we all know on Lanier, if you pull up a spot, you got 4 or 5, especially on top water. Everybody's seen it where you got a wolf pack right around it trying to take it from them.
Yeah.
So same thing on Okeechobee is what you're saying, pretty much. And it's largemouth doing the same thing. Okay, makes sense. What is your best color trick worm? Messick wants to know. He's our buddy in South Carolina. Just you throw methylate most of the time, don't you? Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much most of the time. When I first started, I don't know. I didn't know about Softy. I don't even know if they existed. I have no idea. But when I first started doing it, I bought Zoom bubblegum trickworm and Zoom methylate trickworm because that was what I had seen on videos and read on the internet. That was what to go with, and that's just kind of how I've stuck with it. But I got a buddy of mine. He likes that lime truce or whatever they call it from Zoom, and he gets bid on it. So I mean, I think it's more confidence in what you got. If you feel like you're going to get bid, we all fishermen, we all like that. If you feel like you're going to get bid on something, then you're going to stick with that more times than not. More times than you listen to dock talk or whatever. Oh, it's got to be a black and blue jig with 4 strands of blue. If it's got more than 4 strands, they won't pick it up. Sometimes we get caught up in that, and
that's like some of those jig orders. Needs
2
strands of this.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say.
Just 2.
Can't have copper wire. Got to have black wire. The chartreuse has got to be at 10 and 4, not on the back, or it's got to be on the bottom. And if it has 4, they're not going to hit it. Got to be 2. Trust me. We've had that conversation a time or two, especially me and Ryan have at the shop. We've had that a lot. I forget this fella's name, but Kent brought him up, and it'll come to me. What about the guy talking about picking it up and taking it out 8 foot and dropping it to the female? You remember he was on the show, Ryan? I think you were still there. He's an Allatoona guy. Just opened up I think he just opened up a rigging shop or something like that over on Allatoona as well. And his name will come to me. But do you remember that, Ryan?
It doesn't. It's not ringing a bell.
Okay.
I don't think Ryan was there.
Okay. So what he
probably wasn't there.
Okay. So what he said was he was on Allatoona fishing. This is where he fishes the most. But it might be a shaky head or whatever. But this time of year, going into the spawn and all that, the buck bass, let's just say more than the spawn. So the buck bass is up shallow. And this is not me talking. This is him. The buck bass are up shallow.
Warren
Barnes. Yes, Ron Swinford. That's it. Oh, Warren. And Warren would say that it would pick the thing up and take it out because the females hadn't moved up yet. They're just hanging out in the 8 foot, 9 foot, 10 foot range, kind of waiting for that right time to go up there and do the deed. But he said that they would pick them up and take it out there almost like a love offering to them and spit it out there to it, trying to entice big girl to come up there, back to the house. You ever heard anything like that?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, but I wouldn't be shocked if that happens more times than people realize.
You think so?
Now I have been bed fishing before, and now I have been working a bed fish, and I can't get the freaking buck to quit. I couldn't get the freaking buck to stop. He would not quit picking it up, and I guess the female was about 4 or 5 pounds. She was hanging off the side of the bed. The buck was like 13 inches, and he was mean and green. And you'd throw up on the bed and get it right there in that spot, and you'd check it for about 2 seconds, and that buck would grab it. And then she'd blow it out. And I wasn't going to set the hook on the buck, because I could see the buck. I was like, this is a little peckerhead. I was like, I want her. I can see her. I want her. And I think this buck picked it up like 6 times in a row. And the buck came to the bed like the 7th time in a row. And I was like, I'm going to have to stick this stupid thing and put it in the live well in order to get her to do it. The female bum rushed the male and moved him out of the way and sucked up my bait. And I was like, yeah, that's just finally. But
she'd had enough. She's like, I'm tired of this. This has got to stop.
I honestly think, like what you're saying though, Tim, I honestly think that's the truth. I think the female was like, you're not doing your damn job. I'm going to come do it for you, So kind of like how husbands and wives are now,
I was getting to say that.
Let me do this. I say you take out the trash.
I said, when it iced the other day, we didn't leave 2 weekends ago. We didn't leave the house that Saturday or nothing. And that Sunday, we didn't. I mean, we stayed at home. We stayed in, didn't go out, didn't do nothing. And then on Monday, our side porch to our driveway was covered in ice and all that. And we walked out a couple of times and we're fine. I didn't think nothing about it. And because I didn't go out there and shovel that thing off, I look out and there's Amanda out there with a damn shovel and she's doing. I'm like, what are you doing? Well, like I gave you all weekend to do it and you didn't do it. And I'm like, well, now I feel like crap. So I totally get it. The floating white worm, Tony, I actually threw a floating white Zoom trick worm before I ever saw methylate or bubblegum on my dad's pond back in the day. But it was absolutely just nasty muddy. But for some reason they could see that white really good. I don't know. I caught a few on that. He's talking about on Notley, a floating white worm. You ever thrown a floating white worm at all? Any of you guys? The white?
I've had one. I've thrown it before when throwing a buzz bait.
You threw a floating white worm when you threw a buzz bait?
Yeah. There one particular time, and it only happened to me once, but there's one particular time we was on a pretty decent buzz bait bite around rock, rip rap, and they'd come up and try to crush the buzz bait, and we get a hook in some of them, but we figured out about mid morning that if you threw something like I had one miss it, and I was like, damn, that was a good one, and like reeled it back in real quick and slung back up there again, and another one, I don't know if it was the same one, but another one tried to bite the buzz bait again, and in that instance it was kind of like, huh. So you could do it with a fluke too, probably be the same thing. But that instance, we was throwing a buzz bait, and when one would miss, a partner in the back of the boat, he would just drop his rod, and he would grab his spinning rod and throw it right back up there, and they'd grab the worm. They want another one or something would come up and suck the worm down and grab it. I'm pretty sure they were probably wolf packing fish. It was one of them made the commitment to the buzz bait and missed it, and then there was three more. Oh, what the hell was that all about? And then all of a sudden the worm goes bloop and just starts falling. Yeah. Oh, there it is. She killed it, and she grabs it.
But that makes sense. I can see that working though. That where the white would work because you're throwing a buzz bait. Now, Darren Moss says, where can I get softy worms? Well, if our shop was still open, we had a ton of them. But I think you got two options. I think the dugout carries some of them.
They do.
The dugout carries
some of them. Where's he at?
Where's the dugout at?
No, where's Darren at?
Darren, where are you out of? Because there might be a store out there.
Hammond's has them too.
Does Hammond's have some of the colors too? Do they have the methylate?
Yeah.
Okay, so Hammond's
all the way in the back. On the back left-hand side, right in front of the Strike King stuff. If you go back to where the Strike King stuff is and turn right around, there's right where the Strike King and Yamamoto meet. You turn around, you'll see the whole wall of softy. They've got everything.
And if you're not near the dugout or you're not near Hammond's, I do believe she still sells on Amazon. So I think you can go on Amazon, type in softy worms, and you will see her pull up because she was selling on Amazon at one time. So there's your three options: two retail stores and Amazon. Ranger used to make a pre-rigged 2-hook floating worm.
I've seen those.
You ever thrown one?
No, because like every one of them that I found was like the worms dry rotted. That's how old it was.
Yeah, those are antiquities.
Yeah, those are put them on the wall. That's a talking point.
All right, let's see what Eric says right here. And guys, listen, we're getting close to the end of the show. So if you got any more questions about a spinnerbait or a floating worm, you need to throw them out there, okay? I saw something one time talking about following up a buzzbait or a spinner miss with a wacky worm too. Now that's what I would do when Ryan was doing that. That's kind of why anytime he was going down with a spinnerbait down the docks or something, I always had like a wacky or something. He's near Anderson, South Carolina. You can, okay, here, true. Go to hammonds.com and you can order them online as well. So there you go. All right, Kevin, let me ask you this. I haven't asked in a while, you or Tim. Y'all got any questions concerning all the stuff that we've been talking about? Charles on TikTok said he found some of them on Amazon. Damn, Kevin, did I run you off?
Yeah, he quit.
No, something's jacked up with the restream tonight. It ain't, I don't know. But you got a question?
Me?
Yeah, you got anything?
You said you were going to ask me a question.
Not for me.
No. What I was saying was, yeah, it's one of them nights. what I was saying,
he knows more than me.
Do you have any questions for Ryan concerning spinnerbaits this time of year up into the spawn or the floating worm?
No, but I'm gonna stick with the spinning rod for skipping.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. If I tried
to
skip a weightless worm on a bait caster, that would probably be a one and done deal right there. That one would just be
practice makes perfect.
Right.
I know now. I do remember I had a question about that. The swivel. What size swivel are you using?
I think it's I think it's like a number 5. I think it's what it is.
Right.
They're just eagle claw. Color don't matter. Buy gold or black, whatever, silver, whatever. It don't matter. Don't think about gold, black. Oh, I don't buy it if it's. Don't think about that too hard.
That's right. Clayton said they'll be sold out by the morning.
Or long shank on the spinnerbaits.
For the hook.
No, I'm talking about the wire. Some of them are long, some of them are short. Some of them are stop about the weight. Some of them go past the weight.
Oh, yeah. I don't. That's another one of those things where I don't really think about it that hard. I will tell you this: out of all the spinnerbaits, so one of the reasons I started kind of buying some of these and trying them, and they work really well. Those accent lure ones. If you look right there, the hook, if you look the way the shank is and the wire, by the time you look at it, if it's all the way out here, it's right back there. So they really get a hold of it. But if you see this is a 2-aught trailer hook. So if they swat at the blade, they're going to get a hook. So, but I kind of like these accent ones because they have a longer shank hook overall compared to how damn tiny a War Eagle is.
Yeah. And sometimes you can, where the wire comes out where your blades start will either be back behind the hook or up toward the head.
Yeah, I don't like. So if I make mine, if I pour my own and make my own spinnerbaits, for one, they've got a bigger hook in them, but for two, I cut my wire before I make the bend here to put your swivel and top blade on. I cut them. I think it's 4 1/4 inches long from the bend up to here, and then I make the bend. But the only downside that I hate, so the old school War Eagles are better, but God, you can't find them. The new War Eagles, they've shortened their the width, they've made this hole smaller, the bend smaller. And when I make a spinnerbait, I bend it pretty big and then close it where the swivel can't come off.
Right.
And it's got a lot more room. And I think that means a lot with in terms of when you're making your cast. As soon as the spinnerbait lands in the water, as soon as that top blade travels into below the surface, the blade will immediately start turning. And as soon as you kick your reel in gear, that blade is falling, and then it comes back, and it never stops spinning. So I think that's kind of important.
Do you remember back when you were with Castleberries, y'all made a spinnerbait?
Yeah.
I think Tim White, if Tim White's on here, he did say that was the best spinnerbait he ever throwed, or the color and all that. But what size willows did you guys use? Because if I remember serves me correctly, there were 2 big ones on there, right?
Yeah. Well, we can talk about building them, if you want what you're wanting to look for. So I think, I don't know if Tim's still watching, maybe he can say it if he can remember, if he remembers, or if he still has some, but I think those in particular ones were 1/2 ounce. And, typically with a 1/2 ounce, when I build one, my top willow is a 4, and then my bottom willow is a 3.
They were big. They were bigger.
It's kind of big. A lot of your run of the mill, mass produced spinnerbaits, War Eagle. Once you get past War Eagle, you don't find a ton of spinnerbaits that have put a blade on much bigger than a 4. War Eagle typically stays around that 4 to 4.5 range, unless you get a Screaming Eagle, and then it's a Screaming Eagle is like their version of a mini me spinnerbait, and so it's got smaller blades, so you can really pick it up speed on it and really burn it. But
and we're not burning anything.
That one that Tim White got though, that was a skirt that I can still make today. And we called it Injured Herring.
Injured Herring. That was the best looking spinnerbait I have ever seen.
Yeah, that was
that skirt alone. You guys, if Ryan would just make the skirts, I don't have that color here in the house. You'll have to give me that combo too, because I wanted to make some of that. But that Injured Herring was the best looking North Georgia Highland Reservoir spinnerbait I think I've ever seen.
I mean, it literally. I mean, it's as close to a blueback herring that's in distress as you can really get, because when a blueback herring actually gets in distress, that's when that purple actually starts to stand out down their lateral line. And we were able to put it on both sides of the spinnerbait where it comes straight down, Here we go.
Here we go. In the comment, I knew if Tim was around, he'd remember him. Castleberry made 2 colors that were good. One had a little translucent pink in it, but the other was the Injured Herring. That color was freaking fire.
I still remember how to make them. The translucent pink was because of like the lower end of Lanier, and for like really clear water. That was what it was. That was what that skirt was come up for.
Brody Lindsay 77. Where can I put my order in for that? I don't even have to just pay Ryan to tie. I want that combo back from me though. Give me that formula. I want to make. You can make them. I just want it for me. Here's my question. I got a bunch, from the shop. Remember when we ordered all those spinnerbaits?
Yeah.
Got the War Eagle head and all that. How important is paint on the head? Can I not just go with the lead if I wanted to?
Oh, I mean, look at this War Eagle, for example. It's just the head is chromed, but I mean, you don't have.
Yeah, War Eagles almost look like a bullet weight that's just around the hook, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at about 30 spinnerbait, but if I wanted to recreate that, I think, Ryan, make me up some of that Injured Herring when you get a chance like that. Just make me about 5 of them.
I think it requires 4 different colors.
It is pretty. It is pretty
to put it together, and it's meticulous to actually tie. I see Tim's still on, so and he can attest to it, and you've seen it too. I forgot. So
yeah,
it's not an easy thing to tie. You don't want to band it, because if you band it and then just slide the rubber band on, it's not like.
Oh my God!
It doesn't look right.
Old school. Bangalore.
An Injured Herring Bangalore.
That's the bladed jig, is it not?
That's what we call a bladed jig. Yeah, because at the time when we first started making baits back in 2019, at the time you could freaking Z-Man they were all over. They literally, we had found out that Z-Man literally was paying like 3 people 8 hours a day to scour the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And this is no BS.
He's not lying.
To scour the internet looking for anyone who called anything a chatterbait. Mm-hmm. And if they found out that you were calling something a chatterbait, they would send you a cease and desist letter in the mail. They would find out where you live, and they would send you a cease and desist letter. So when we started making chatterbaits, we were like, shit, we got to think of something. And Bryson, being in the military, he was like, well, we call him a Bangalore. And I was like, I don't really care. I was like, this bladed jig. Yeah, we'll just call him Bangalore. I was like, not with me. I was like, it's cool with me. So
I forget that fellow that lived on Lake Lanier, and he was tying them, and he would call them chatterbaits. And he
blue
got
herring lures.
Yeah,
they sent him a cease and desist The other color was dirty shad. I know that one. I know exactly that's the one. It's got some brown in it. That's that dirty shad. It kind of looks like a threadfin shad. So
it was good. It was good.
If anybody wants to pay me like $80 grand a year, I'll come work for your company and I'll design all kinds of shit for you.
You'd be doing it for me, but I couldn't afford you, or you'd still be doing it for me.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, guys, we've gone 2 hours. Ryan's got to get up. All these guys got to get up. I'm the one that gets to work out of my house, so I got to let them go and all that. Ryan, first of all, appreciate you coming on. It's a great show. We had a great crowd tonight. A lot of good questions. You gave out a lot of juice, as you always do. But I appreciate you doing that, and it won't be long. We'll have you back on for the horny head or horny toad.
We'll do a buzz bait and a horny toad one sometime in like May.
Yeah, right when it gets that.
And I may do something. I may do something for that too, for your question of the night, for your giveaway. I may put together like a little buzz bait box.
Okay. Oh, we got to do this. We've got to do this.
No, I'm not doing a Bigfoot. My daughter's asleep.
Tim, have you ever heard his Bigfoot call?
Yeah.
Oh God, you remember that? It's amazing.
I've heard the Bigfoot call. Him sing Rattling Bog.
Yeah.
Rattling Bog was the first time he was ever on the show.
Yeah. That was, y'all made me sing. That was back in the day when you do the roar. That was like the first time I ever come on the show a long time ago. So
I wished, you know what? I wish though that because that was when we were in the basement before we had fiber. So like that episode, you still can go back and watch it. You got to dig deep in the archives, but the internet is not near as good as what it would be now. But we'll get him to do. I'll get him to record one when his daughter's awake and all that. So it's been great, great time with the part-time semi-regional amateur fisherman. There you go,
or whatever
the hell we call it, like that. Y'all got to go. Y'all want to do the new rules? You got to do that on y'all's time. You ain't doing that on my time. So
it's controversial.
Controversial. We don't want to do that. We're a drama-free show. So anyway, I appreciate you, Big Dog, coming on, and of course, Father Time and Tim for joining me and all that. Guys, if you're going out on the water this weekend, be safe, bundle up, whatever. I don't know. I'm sure it's still going to be cold or whatever. We're going to be back next week. Now, hopefully, Tony will have a show on Monday night. We're going to start Tony's show on Monday night. Then Tuesday night, hopefully, I will have Ethan, the guy that's running the Dual Threat. He told me he was going to come on. So hopefully we'll be able to interview him about all the stuff that's going on with that. Wednesday's a kayak, and then we got Matt Stefan on next Thursday. Correct?
Stephen.
Matt
Stefan. I was going to Stefan, man. Stefan.
That's going to be really good. If you watch him on YouTube.
Oh, he's great.
He's great on YouTube. He's
I love his YouTube videos.
I watch him all the time. I can get lost in his YouTube videos.
And Tim White said I need to go back and watch In the Dirt. That was one of the
In the Dirt.
I don't know if we get away with it In the Dirt. That was not old Justin Reynolds. Really got excited. Let's
got excited.
Can you do Bigfoot?
He threw that Alabama ring. He was in the dirt.
And he added a few choice words to In the Dirt.
Few expletives.
So anyway, you guys, hey, listen, go out there this week and have some fun and enjoy yourself, spend time with the family or on the water, whatever it is you guys want to do. And we will see you again the week. The week will start off with Tony on Monday night and then the lunch break on Tuesday for me. So you guys be good. Kevin, Tim, Ryan, appreciate you guys and everybody in the comment section. I'm going to end the stream. So